Good morning. Guten Morgen. Magandang umaga. Bonjour. I'm gonna try to do this video and not be long-winded because I have a lot to do today. So I'd like to share something personal about myself, and maybe some of you can resonate and relate to what I'm about to share. Anyhow, so throughout the years, I'm kind of an oddball, or I have many quirks, and so I would be in my imagination a lot, and this is not just in my childhood, this is also in my adult years, that I was a daydreamer, and I would make up my own situations where I would come out on top, I guess. Let's just say I had not conflicts, but there were people in my life who would say things and do things, and in reality, in real time, I really wouldn't say anything in return, because it wasn't in me. The Lord didn't make me that way, where I would respond in a disrespectful manner. And I'm not saying I've never been disrespectful. It just wasn't in me to push others down or belittle them or ridicule them. It just wasn't in me. So, and I'm not saying that, like, when I would think about it later, that I would be disrespectful or anything, but I was the type of person where if I was placed in a situation where someone said something to me that was unkind, like, there's a lot of passive aggressive people out there who will, say phrases that are like little digs, that it doesn't seem like they're insulting you, but they're insulting you. I hope that makes sense. So I would always be a daydreamer later, driving away or walking away from the situation, thinking about what had happened, what they said to me. And even though I never really said anything in return, in my daydream, I'd replay the situation later. And I would, when I say I'd come out on top, I'm saying that I would say, in replaying the situation later, I'd have these clever things to say back to them, things that I would have liked to say to that person that I didn't think of at the time. So I always would say to myself, oh man, if only I would have thought of this earlier, if only I would have thought of this before. So yes, and I'm sure, and I didn't know, see, before I became born again, I believed in a higher power. I believed that there was a God, but I didn't know, I didn't know him in a sense where I thought I was being watched. And I'm so glad for 42 years, I didn't think someone was watching over me. I never, when I would hear people say, when their when their loved ones had passed away, and they're like, oh, your great grandmother's now watching over you. And I'd be like, well, that's uber creepy. do I get to choose when she watches over me or what? Like, I thought that, I was like, no, I can't believe that they're watching over me, because, you know, I mean, that's just weird. It was just a weird idea for me. So I had the same concept. I didn't think that the Lord was watching over me. You know, not that so when I was, whatever I would do, you know, I was like a child. I had my imagination and I would imagine my life being one way, even though it was another. Like, my life was more interesting in my head than it actually was. So, why am I sharing this with you? Well, I noticed there's a lot of people who say they follow Christ who feel it's their duty to clear the air or set things straight when someone persecutes them or attacks them, maybe even makes a video about them. They feel the need to respond, to clear things up, which, if you're walking with the Lord and you're growing in knowledge and wisdom and understanding, you don't feel the need to have to defend yourself, because when you're building your relationship with the Lord, your personal relationship, and you're going to Him every day, you know, I talk to our Father like He's my best friend. That I'll be driving in my car, I'll be in my kitchen, out working in my yard, or at my job. I just talk to Him all day long. You know, I just tell Him what's on my mind, how I feel, how I see the situation. And I feel comforted that I know that He's with me. His Holy Spirit is in my vessel. I know He hears everything that I say and everything that I feel about that situation. So if someone comes personally up against me, you know, I don't get angry. You know, I get sad because I understand the depth and the responsibility, and I understand that it's their testimony. Their testimony is a testimony that's against them. That I don't have to say or do anything. That my testimony is that I pray for them, that I love them, that I have an understanding that it's a spiritual warfare, that, you know, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. They're being devoured by the darkness. And the Lord has given me eyes to see that I can see that and know that. And so if somebody attacks me personally, I get a little bit anxiety, you know, and I do have fear, but not in that person. I'm not afraid of that person. I'm afraid for them, knowing the fact that their mouth and their actions are convicting them and condemning them, and I'm a witness. That's part of my testimony. I'm witnessing that person murdering themselves. And so that's why I get anxiety, because I don't like being part of a situation where I see someone else saying words that I know are going to come back at them. And it saddens me, and that's why I'm very careful, because I don't want that person to say things that they're going to regret later. So I don't feel the necessity like most Christians do to clear the air and to prove anything, because I know that the Lord knows the truth. And the truth is absolute. It doesn't need to be defended. The Lord doesn't need to be defended. I don't need to be defended. I don't need, what is it? Romans chapter 12, verses 19 through 21, I think, that, vengeance is the Lord and he will heap coals on their head. I don't want coals on their head. I don't want anything bad to happen to them, because that person is me. And that's how I look at it too. Every person I interact with is me. I have been impatient. I have said ignorant things. I have done impulsive things. I have had anger for others. That person is me. That's how I see it. That's how I choose to see it. And as much as I want people to have patience and understanding for me, I try to have patience and understanding always for others, no matter what. So I hope I planted a good seed that, even though I used to have an extreme imagination of another life that I was living, about how clever I was, defending myself and standing up for myself and, again, not disrespecting others, but just saying, smart things that I'll put you in your place. I'm sure that our Father has had a lot of moments of shaking his head with, some of the things that I would think of. But I just want to give you encouragement that as long as the Lord knows the truth, nothing needs to be said and nothing really needs to be done except pray for them and love them. It's not about the person who knows all the right words to say. It's where is your heart? Your heart is with them and your heart is with Christ. So I love you and God bless.